Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another video guide on Black Desert. Today we are going to talk about housing. Housing can be a very confusing aspect of the game, especially since obviously it's in Korean. So hopefully, after you get done watching this video, you have a little bit of an understanding of how the housing system works. So let's go ahead and get right into it. First, we're going to show you. Now, there are housing in each of the major cities, the bigger towns as well. So we're going to go ahead and go to one of the biggest ones, and this is Heidel. And as you can tell, I actually already have some stuff bought, and we will discuss how I chose those and what will help you choose yours. As you can tell, there's a lot of houses. Let's first talk about what are these blue blinking houses. These blue blinking houses are houses that you can actually purchase right then and there. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. There's just what you can buy with contribution points and with money if it happens to cost money. The gray down houses are houses that you cannot purchase as of yet. That basically means that there's something preventing you from buying those via connection-wise. The housing system is based on a grid system where one house unlocks the next house, and that house unlocks the next house, and that house unlocks the next house. It goes down a line, a chain basically. And think of it as a chain. The whole line is a chain. So for instance, let's just use this as an example. This is a chain right here. And each house is a link in that chain. And the only way to get to the next link in the chain is to purchase the house before the next link. So let's go ahead and look at this one. This house I've already purchased. The white houses, as you can see here, are houses that I have currently bought. So we'll go ahead and go to this one here. This is the first house I bought in this chain. And once you click on a house that you want to purchase, it is going to tell you a few things, a few bits of information. And obviously, once again, it's in Korean, so it's kind of confusing and you don't know where you're going with this. Hopefully this video will help you with a lot of things. Now, this one has three options of what I could choose, or what I could have chosen. This one here, so if you ever see something like this, this is telling us that it will give you warehouse space. And currently it will give me 3 more slots of warehouse space if I were to purchase it. This one here is personal housing. Personal housing is very important because not only will you be able to put stuff in your personal house, but you will also have your workers, which we will discuss in a later video, a place to rest when they are not out in the world working. And this one here is a type of, I call it fuel, but basically it is an item that you will need to make certain crafting items. So it is very important. So I chose this one. Now this information here is going to tell you a few things. The first option here is going to tell you that it costs you 1 contribution point. And currently obviously I have 0, so it's not going to help too much. But it costs 1 contribution point. Now, if I didn't want this house, I could actually click this button and it would refund me that contribution point. Down here is the crafting button. So if I wanted to go ahead and craft this item, I would click on this button and it would give me this option here. And then I would choose the selection and go ahead and hit it. But unfortunately it's not going to allow me right now. So let's go ahead and go into the next house. Now once I bought this house, it did 2 things. It unlocked this house here, and it unlocked this house here. So then I went down the line and I wanted to make ingot packs and other packs with this house. Now, this house gives you 4 options. As you can tell, this one here is saying warehouse space. So if I bought this one, it would actually immediately give me 3 spots in my warehouse. This option allows me to make tools, and so on, and this is personal housing. Almost every house will allow you to make it either a personal house or a warehouse house. And as you can tell, you're probably wondering what is with the arrows. The arrows are basically upgrades, levels. Some houses have 2 to 3 to even 4 levels. So if I were to buy this house, we'll use the warehouse as an example because it has 2 arrows. If I were to buy it, it would immediately have the 1 arrow filled, and I would gain 3 spots in my warehouse. Now, if I were to upgrade it, I would just go ahead and click on that, and it will give you 5 extra spots. So this 1 spot can give you up to 8 slots in your warehouse. Same thing with this one. We'll use this as a crafting example. If you wanted to make tools, such as fishing poles, axes, pickaxes, etc., you could use it with this one. However, if you wanted to make the upgraded version, you could upgrade it to level 2, and then you would be able to craft the upgraded versions, the higher level ones. Now after I bought this house, it unlocked this house, and it unlocked this house. I then chose this house. Now this one obviously looks a lot more complicated. As you can tell, it's up to 4 spots for the upgrade. I chose a warehouse in this one, which gives me 3 upgrades. Now, unfortunately, I do not know what this one does yet, so if anyone knows, please post it below and help everybody else out. I have not figured out what this one is yet, but still working on it. Once I figure it out, I will probably put a comment below to let everyone know. Now, here's a confusing portion, is these question marks. Now, from what I understand, once you purchase this, it will unlock and tell you what it's crafting, but it does tell you what it's crafting here. And it looks like it's the upgraded weapons. Yes, upgraded weapons. The great thing about the housing system, especially for crafting, is once you decide what house you want to build, you can also make sure what you actually want to build. So in this case, it is going to show you exactly what ingredients make this item. So for instance, it's going to say it needs a weapon, needs some fuel, 30 fuel, needs some metal, and whatever that red thing is. I'm not for sure what that red thing is just yet. Now each of these have different items that it crafts, and whatever is going to work for you is what you're going to need to decide. And so you're going to have to spend some time. The housing system is definitely not something that you're going to go ahead and be like, oh well, I'm just going to buy some houses and be done with it. It does take careful planning. Now, you can buy any of these houses, start any chain that you want, and unlock the ones going down the line. You just have to decide how you're going to do it, what you want to do, and then decide what you're going to build. In my opinion, the best way of buying houses is deciding, okay, sit down, I'm going to be a crafter. Okay, what are you going to craft? Well, I want to craft armor. Alright, so then spend the time looking at each house, going, okay, what is the shortest line from point A to point B where I can get items to craft for armor? How can I do this? and you're gonna have to sit down and have a plan for it. The good news is about this is if you make a bad purchase, it is not the end of the world. You can always sell it and get your contribution points back. But I want to be very clear that if you had to spend any money on the house, then you will not get your money back. You will only get the contribution points back, and that's it. So be careful on what you buy if you are low on funds. Another thing to point out with the housing system is you don't have to have your whole housing empire in one spot. You can actually build them in other cities, and you can have multiple ones. In fact, it's actually encouraged. I would encourage it to have at least 2 spots, at least 2 cities to build, because this will allow you to have multiple workers in said spot in each different location, instead of only having all of your workers that you can get in one area. The easiest one between cities is probably Heidel, which is this city, and the fishing town, which is here. And what you would do is your crafting interacts with each other in both cities. You can actually connect the nodes, which we will go over in a different video on how to connect nodes between the fishing town and Heidel, and you can end up connecting all these, and therefore once you're done with said crafting and you need to move to the next city, you can actually transport it from one city to the other. Now, when you're crafting, make sure that you have space in your inventory, not in your inventory, sorry, your warehouse, because if you don't, then you won't be able to craft. I recommend having 2 spots open at all times. So buying houses for warehouse space is always very, very important, especially in your crafting towns. I hope this video was informative for you, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to type a comment below, and I will answer it to the best of my knowledge. I have been playing since the open beta has been out, day 1, and I have spent a lot of time on many aspects of the game, just to try to get a feel for everything, and between myself and a few others that I play with, obviously I have accumulated all this knowledge. Now, I also do a stream, for those of you who do not know. Feel free to go to twitch.tv/digitaladdiction. I do stream early morning US time and around midday night time for the Europeans. Thank you guys for tuning in, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.